You like my mask?
I love the mask.
Right?
Yes.
It's wicked. Guys, I've been like a snowboarding connoisseur lately, and I love it. I love it. I know you can't do that. My man
Two bad knees, man.
2 torn meniscus. Actually, I met someone yesterday on the mountain. He had 2 torn meniscus.
Really?
Yeah, and he's out. 47 years old. Started at 40.
When did they tear, did he say?
No, maybe like 2 years ago, but nonetheless, he's still riding around with 2 torn meniscus.
Yeah. At least there's others like me out there. You know what I mean?
You're not alone, man. I just wanted to put on a mask just to show off a little bit because I've been having a blast this season going snowboarding. It is 2025, first podcast of the year, recording in 2025. The mask right here, they had a baby shark version, but I decided to go with the dino version. It goes over the helmet. It's sturdy. It's a great time. All my ligaments are intact still. My extremities still work. And I've been ripping it lately. Okay, so it's been a great start to 2025.
Absolutely.
How's the beginning of 2025 been for you?
Eventful and fast. Those are the 2 ways to put it.
How many days have we had already? Like 3?
About 3.
4?
Yeah, 4.
What's happened, dude?
Well, I mean, I relaunched my clothing brand, dropped 2 songs, did a photo shoot last night, and now I'm here.
Perfect.
You know,
perfect.
so.
Well, the mask is coming off. Here we go. And we're going to put on the Jazzy Lion Man hat. Shout out Jazzy, the Lion Man. Okay, him, Gomi J, and Gustavo Lewis just dropped 2 G's and a Lion, which was an album recorded in the Middleman Podcast studio as well as Encore Studios. It was a Scranton-based album, and it was pretty sick that they were able to do that, and it came out pretty solid. One of my favorite songs on that track, on that project, has to be Richard Simmons.
Yes,
Richard
I agree
Simmons.
with that.
You listen to that
I
one
agree
too?
with that. Yeah, dude, I put on the album last night and I listened all the way through. I was excited just by the overall aesthetic, you know. Shout out my boys. Fire album.
Shout out
project.
Michael here. Michael was the man who actually got the cover art.
Really?
Yeah, Michael was the cover art
All right,
guy.
Mike. Yeah, I was a big fan of the cover art. I just like overall the aesthetic of the project was very, very like, it was rough, rugged, and raw. That's how it looked in my head. You know what I mean? And I even liked with the championship belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was super cool.
That's Gustavo Lewis, man. That's his thing, man. That's his thing. So shout out those 2. Shout out to you guys for being here to the Middleman Podcast, episode 125.
Jeez.
Yeah, episode 125, and I believe you were episode 88.
Yeah.
88.
I was.
Yeah, man.
Isn't that crazy where the time goes?
What a time to be alive. And that was 2 years ago?
Roughly. About a year and a half now.
No, I think it was 2, bro.
Was it 2?
Give or take, because you were just... When did you drop the Scream album?
About 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So, yeah. No, you're right.
Because that's what was going on at that time. So
good date point.
Yeah.
You're right.
Exactly, man. So... since then, we've had quite the relationship. You're my homie. You're my dog. We've done extremely great things out here, such as Atmosfere. We hang out. We talk on a daily.
Yes, sir.
So much love to you, bro. Thank you for being here. Quick question before we get on the show, because I know you personally. How long did it take you to pick out your outfit today?
Okay, so I went through. I went through the other night. I was home and I went through like 5 outfits, and then I used 2 for the photo shoot yesterday, and I used this one for today. You know what I'm saying? Dude,
yeah.
I have an addiction to clothing, and that's the problem. I realized that the other night.
An addiction to clothing is much safer than an addiction to snowboarding.
You're right. You're right. Which you have.
That's what I have right now. What do we call that? Snowboardinitis? I don't know.
I like that. We're calling it that from now on.
All right. Well, I'm excited that you're here, bro. We've been talking about having a podcast for quite some time now.
Yes,
but I've always told you, I'm like, yo, give me time. Give me time. Let it stretch. Let it
100%.
simmer. Let us both grow. Let us, expand on the platform and what we're doing here, which you've expanded over the year. You've had a tremendous year in 2024. I believe when we were talking our first go around, Stardom wasn't even the thing. It was a thought.
Yes, it was. That's all it was at that point.
It was a thought, man.
A thought / tiny bit of a plan, but it had not launched anything like that. So,
and you started it now.
Yeah.
So talk me through. Well, all right, hold on. Let's talk about some of your achievements in 2024. Let's break them down, bro.
Okay.
Maybe like from the beginning of the year and start working towards the end. So beginning of the year rolls around. What's the forefront? What did you really want to get done in the beginning of 2024?
So I've really didn't have a goal in mind besides that I wanted to push myself harder than I ever had, and I wanted to attain certain things personally and professionally. You know what I mean? I did not know what those achievements would bring, but they brought a lot, and I wasn't even prepared for it. You know what I mean? So it ended up being a way bigger year than I had originally thought so in my head. But what a great year. I mean,
your calendar is insane when it comes to, you know, how you map everything out.
Yeah.
You know, you're months ahead looking at things, you know, drop dates, projects that are recorded. And I've seen it because I've been in the studio with you and Steez and just constantly recording things that might not even come out, you know, and you just got, you know,
absolutely.
you put out an album, you know, and then you put out a deluxe, you know, and it's like, yo, where'd these tracks come from? Oh, I just had them, and
exactly.
it was just fitting for what it was.
That's literally what I said. So that's the answer. Sometimes it just happens like that, though, man. You know what I mean? Like, me and Steve are constantly in the studio just stacking and stacking and stacking records. And sometimes you get projects that weren't planned at all, and you have about 3 weeks to get them done. Or sometimes you have projects that have been sitting there for 2 years. You never know. You know what I mean? You could always go back and mix them, mash them, make them sound current. You know, so I guess it's just about what's in the vault and what we could give to the people and the listeners.
That must be interesting selection as you're sitting there and re-listening to things.
Yeah.
You know, and tracks that you probably recorded like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's happened. I've gone back. I actually did that the other day. Sometimes I just go back to listen to a lot of the stuff, and there's tracks I forget about all the time. So, like, the other day I found an unreleased record. I'm not going to say who it's with, but it's a part 2 to a feature I already did. And I forgot we had ever done it, and I played it, and it was like I listened to it with new ears. You know what I mean? So it's cool again to go back and, you know, rediscover certain things. There's so much music in these files that you forget a lot of it.
The lost tapes, the lost files. Is there ever an idea to maybe drop just something like that where it's just a collective of unreleased?
Yes, but I'm not going to say when. It's been planned for about like 8 months now. So, but I'm not going to tell you when.
Like how Kendrick Lamar did the Untitled.
Yes. Yes, pretty much. It's I would say along the same lines. It's going to be a culmination of a lot of my favorite unreleased records that have never came out. And that stems back to the beginning of my career. But I can't give anybody a date yet because there's a lot coming before that.
Do you think that we could see one of those potentially this year at least?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yes. I would say if so, it would be towards the end of the year.
Sick, bro.
You know
Very cool. Very cool. You know, what I think about is when we did 2024, we did the episode 100, and you were there, you were performing.
Yes.
You know, and before that, were there a lot of performances that you had under your belt?
So not necessarily. I didn't really like performing at first. I suffer from social anxiety. So, well, not so much anymore. I've kind of conquered it, but it's still in there. You know what I mean? But I used to have it super bad. So I didn't want to put myself in front of all those people and kind of do that until I realized it was fun. And after my first couple, I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm comfortable doing this and I enjoyed this part of it. I can't believe I've missed so much of it over the last couple of years. You know what I mean? So now we're good.
How did you overcome the social anxiety? You know, for people out there who suffer from social anxiety, for people who are in the same element as you are, and they probably make great music, but they're just afraid to perform. And I feel like performing is one of the biggest parts.
It is.
To being in any type of creative act. You know, like I'm performing right now while being on a podcast. Comedians, they get up and they perform. You don't get better unless you get the feedback from the public, right?
Very true.
And with little to no performances, you know, I tell people all the time, like, you need to, like, you could tell who's been up there before and who hasn't.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool going through that. Just watching people. You got to people watch. I tell people watch. That's
100%.
I go in a room, I go to a showcase, and I don't tell them I have a podcast.
Yeah.
I watch.
Absolutely.
And I see who's rocking out, and I see who appears to have experience. And sometimes they blow your socks off, and they have no experience at all. And they just are naturally gifted that way,
100%.
you know? So for the people who may be suffering or have suffered with the same anxiety as you have in the past and is in the same realm as you, what would you tell them to help get over that hump?
I mean, it's pretty much, in my case, it's more so just putting yourself out there and putting yourself in situations that are uncomfortable. Because if you could get used to those uncomfortable situations, they then become comfortable. And it's all mental, really. I mean, like, that's really what it comes down to. It's a mental battle. But at the end of the day, if you keep inserting yourself in situations you find uncomfortable or you're scarce from, I think that helped me a lot. You know what I mean? And then also like with doing music and a lot of people coming up to me and asking me questions rather than me go to them and put myself in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
They would just come to me and put me in uncomfortable situations. So I got used to that. And then, you know, after the first like 2 times I performed live, it was just like natural after that. Like it felt like I had never had the social anxiety to go on stage before, which is weird to say. Like obviously at Atmosfere before I came out, like I was like sick with nerves, but that was like the largest scale concert in the area. You know what I mean? And my first headline. So I was obviously everybody's going to have nerves, but I went out and I just did it. You know what I mean? So just insert yourself.
We'll talk about Atmosfere definitely down
For
the line
sure.
here, because that was one heck of a performance, one heck of a festival that you and I hosted, as well as with Steez
Absolutely.
and Mr. 570 Exotics, Drew.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm actually wearing the basketball shirt under this sweatshirt right
Fire.
now. By the way, I didn't shout out the sweatshirt. It's Dairy World, okay? Milk Dairy World. Facing Reality on the back of it's a really cool print here. If you haven't tapped in, tap in, guys. I'm telling you. But as I was saying, so, you know, when it comes to your performances, and I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, nah, on a for real, bro, I could think of maybe 4 tremendous performances that you had last year. You know, we had the episode 100. Episode 100, that was real small scale, you know, a crowd full of maybe 30 to 50 people, you know, max capacity in a room nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Then the SMAs.
Yes.
And then, or excuse me, then Atmosfere,
Yes.
then SMAs, and then the Ritz again with Gus the Savage.
Yeah, I did. So that was all in the Atmosfere and then the SMAs and then the Ritz event, which was Emo Night. Shout out Emo Night for having me. That was like right back to back to back, almost, you know what I mean? So at that point, like the nerves were just kind of gone. You know what I mean? Like Atmosfere was like, for your event, I was sick with nerves. And then
Were
Atmosfere,
you?
yeah,
No
I was
shit.
like, I would say I wasn't like sick with nerves, but I definitely was like, I didn't want to disappoint you. You know what I mean? So, and that was like me fresh into performing live. So that was only like 4 or 5 performances after I
Super
performed
fresh.
live. Yeah.
Extremely fresh.
And then Atmosfere, obviously sick with nerves. But then when it got to the SMAs and the Emo Night at the Ritz, that was like, they were gone. You know what I mean?
I could tell you appear definitely more comfortable on those 2 performances. You know, like you came out, you rocked the stage, you know, you had your artists you were performing with. And, you know, you guys have a certain energy when you guys are up there. And I bet that definitely eases the nerves too, just knowing you're not up there alone.
Absolutely.
You know, you're up there with some
that
people.
helped at see with Atmosfere. I knew I was doing a bunch of singles beforehand, so I didn't really have any features like coming up soon. So I had to like kick myself in the ass and do that first, and then I felt really comfortable once people started coming out and performing with me.
It was awesome, bro. Atmosfere was dope. Episode 100 was great. One of my key highlighted moments is remembering Sunset Boulevard, and I was doing the lyrics, or no, it was Ferrari. Excuse me, it was Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ferrari, not Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, well, now we know your second favorite.
Yes.
But no, it was Ferrari. I remember there's videos everywhere of you behind me, like just.
And then you were like, "Yo, take the mic, take the mic."
literally, because I forgot my words.
Uh-huh.
I forgot my words, but you didn't. So I was like, yo, here you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you're on stage performing, if you fuck up, you can't let it show. So that's why I chose, like, I heard you behind me singing them. So I wasn't going to act like I forgot the words. I was going to be like, oh, Kev, you rap. Here you go. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, you got to do things on the fly. Pivot.
That's
you know?
that's a key moment in my head that I remember.
Absolutely.
And there was another time where you did have to pivot at Atmosfere. But before we get more involved into your performances here, we were talking about Stardom. And I know that Stardom has grown tremendously within the year, bro. And I mean, you guys are really cooking. Like, every single one of you guys are part of Stardom. Congratulations for being a part of Stardom, first and foremost. But, you know, it seems like, I remember when we first talked about it in the past, there wasn't so much a collective bunch. It wasn't like everyone was collecting feedback amongst each other. It's just you guys were all just in it, you know, and you and I had spoken about that. You were like, yeah, I'm going to address that and I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
But Stardom, who did it start with? When did it start? And yeah, just it's tremendous what you're building there.
So, all right, after our last talk for Stardom, it was one of those things where I really got to planning. It was like, okay, these are the key points, these are the key notes, and this is what we're going to attack. Now it came down to finding well, not finding a team, because I already had my personal team, so it was like, let's just adapt them into Stardom, and then finding our first artist. So my first artist was actually D. Shiesty. He was here with me. Dylan.
D. Shiesty.
Yeah, shout out Dylan, my boy. He was here with me that first podcast we had. Signed him, and then from then, it was just pretty much artist after artist after artist, and the more the word spread, the more artists we attained. And, obviously, we pick and choose. It's not just like sign everybody. But if you show the potential and the promise and the drive, we're obviously going to talk to you and consider bringing you on. And all of my artists, amazing. They've done great work. I'm so proud of every single one of them. I make sure to tell them that as often as I can. But, like, seriously, I'm proud of you guys. The music they're putting out, the numbers they're doing, we already broke 322,000 as of the other day with Contridium Corday. Shout out Corday. His project did 88,000 in 3 days.
I have to listen to it. I haven't listened to it.
It's pretty good.
I do like
his
flow,
remastered album. So it's like old songs put on a new album. But he did 88,000 in 3 days, which means he's going to break the 100,000 barrier
in 3 days.
Yeah,
that's numbers, bro.
Yeah, right.
That's fantastic. Where'd you meet him? Where's he out of?
So he's out of Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yes,
sorry, I don't know why I do that.
No, it's okay. I have noticed you do. You do that.
I don't know why I do that, bro.
But I actually met him through another artist, and now we've made him a mentor.
Cool.
So he's on the mentor team with me, as well as Gravemaker. Shout out Gravemaker.
Gravemaker Sosa.
Yup. Two talented individuals who have been doing this for a long time, and they found success in doing it. So I'm proud of them both, and I wanted them to join me as a mentor. You know what I mean? And it's been going really good. I mean, from the shows to the awards to the records we're breaking to the music that's being put out, it's just overall like I couldn't have drawn it out better. You
guys did release an album,
Correct.
Stardom album.
Yes.
And that's really cool. For
Absolutely.
that right there is like, it's a mob. Like, it's just your mob, and you guys are putting together a project. And, I think that was a really great start to show all the different sounds that comes out of Stardom, because there's so many sounds,
True.
and you don't keep it in a box,
No.
and as you said, it's more so about like just looking out and listening. You want to hear good quality music. You also want to see, because what does Stardom offer to the artist? What is the biggest thing that you can offer to artists?
So we have marketing campaigns, marketing strategies, weekly chart graphs. We have meetings once a month. Well, we're starting meetings once a month. We have vehicle transportation. We have the access to get them shows. We have merch distributors. We have the website. We have the blogs. We have the YouTube channel. We have
just a lot.
Yeah, it's like an abundance of things, and that's not even scratching the surface. You know what I mean? So like, it's kind of like, it's almost acts as a label, but it's not a label. You know what I mean? Again, it is a mentorship program. I just want to clear that up because there's been some misconceptions of what it is, but it is a mentorship program. So as well as getting all of that, you do get mentored by the people in those positions. You know what I mean?
Is there ever a thought of making it a label?
It's working at such a rapid rate that it's kind of growing itself out of a mentorship program.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to have to see where we are at the end of the year. You know what I mean? I always base it year by year. If we did that in 12 months, I can't imagine what these 12 months are going to bring. So, play it year by year and we'll see. Right now, I really do like it being a mentorship program because I don't want it to feel like a label, but I do feel it has the potential to grow into a label.
I mean, you're gaining all the attributes to make it a label.
Yes.
And I could foresee it becoming a label.
100%.
Most certainly because of one of your newest partnerships.
Encore Studios.
Encore Studios.
Encore Studios.
That is a fantastic sponsorship there.
Yes.
Or, partnership that you guys have built there. Encore Studios is a studio within our area. Ran by Dan. Why am I drawing a blank on his last name? Dan
Dearborn.
We call him Dan the Man, Dan Dearborn. Thank you. Dan the Man, Dan Dearborn. And we have one of our talented producers, engineer, Mr. Steve's PA, who has been working with a lot of your Stardom artists.
Absolutely.
And I know he appreciates that because there's so many different sounds and he likes to tackle different projects and different sounds, something more upbeat instead of always drill and melodic or whatever like that. So talk to me about the importance of that partnership, how it kind of came to fruition, and, what you're looking forward to get out of using Encore Studios.
Absolutely. So I've been using Encore for about the past 4, almost 5 years now. I'd say roughly 4, but going into this year, it'll probably be around 5. And I've worked with Steez my whole career. So I brought it up to Steez because one of my goals was I needed to open a space where the artists could come write, where we could have meetings, where I have an office, where we could listen to music and beats, just the freeness of having a space adds so much, and I brought it up to Steez and I was like, how do you think Dan would feel about this? And he was like, well, maybe bring it up to him. I think it'll go well. And me, I did not do it right away. There was about 2 months in between there where I kind of just thought it out and planned it as to what I wanted to present it to Dan as. And, I asked Steez again, I was like, how do you think he'll feel? He was like, I told you before, if you do it, I think it'll go well. So we scheduled a meeting with Dan. I texted his number and, it went very well. This opens up a lot of opportunity, the creative spaces for the artist to write, for me to be able to work at a desk, to listen to beats in the studio, to hold meetings once a month. It's really big. It's really big. And I love those guys at Encore. Shout out Encore. I'll never stop working with them. Like, even if I move, I will come back to work with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is.
He gave you the keys to the Ferrari, All you gotta do is drive, bro.
He did.
Yeah, That's awesome, man. That is a fantastic thing you got going on there, man. Stardom has how many artists now?
So there's 30.
30.
Yeah.
Holy
30 artists. We have a marketing, legal, and design team as well. So altogether, there's probably about 62 of us.
62.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does your head work, bro? How do you how do you compartmentalize that, or is it just having other people a part of the team that help you?
That, and I write things down, if you want me to be honest. I have, if you got to see my desk, in my computer, I have a note sheet. I have 2 binders full of notes, and you just knock things out order by order. And you make sure you have the group chats, you talk to the artists and see what their needs are, get on calls with them. I just stopped to see my artist KC. Shout out KC the other day. Yes, sir. But it's just organization. If you could stay organized, you're good. It'll keep you grounded. So that's how I do it. Sometimes I ask myself how, but it's just like right there.
So now how many mentors are a part of Stardom?
So there is me, Contridium Corday, and Gravemaker as of right now. So each artist is going to be assigned a certain amount of artists. And that's how it's going to work. But
is it based by sound or is it based by...
Just based off of who I think has the tools to help these certain artists. And obviously, like, I would absolutely mentor all of them if I could, but I can't put my full attention into every single one, so that's why I'm applying new mentors. So it's like, I'm here if you need me, but these guys got you. You know what I mean? But I got you as well, but I got to work on this. You know what I mean? That's how a business runs. So that's kind of where we're at now. Everybody's had a good reaction to it so far. Contridium's been killing it with Cruz. That was his first artist. Shout out Cruz. And Gravemaker, I have his list of assigned artists that will be assigned probably within the next couple of weeks. So, cool. Absolutely.
Very dope, bro. Is there any idea to maybe take Stardom on tour?
That is actually an idea that has crossed my mind, but it's one of those things where right now my biggest concern is like atmosphere. You know what I mean? And I don't really want to steer myself away from that. So Stardom is striving right now.
Moving, grooving,
moving, grooving. That's its own entity. So now with, the new year, locking in on Atmosfere, furthering that in the future, maybe we go on tour and maybe we're able to bring certain artists, you know what I mean? And then eventually down the road, Stardom does go on tour. But that's a late plan.
Do you have any, is there another project lined up for this year that is another Stardom project?
Volume 2.
Very cool. And months down the line, I'm assuming?
Not as far as you think.
Okay.
Not as far as you think.
Without discrediting any other artists within Stardom, who do you really appreciate? Whose sound do you appreciate within that program? I don't want to put you in a tough position.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I will say this before I do answer this question. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. When I look at all the artists, I value them equally. You know what I mean? I enjoy their music thoroughly. through and through. But lately it's been Hayden, Cruz, and KC. I just like what they're coming with is insanity. You know what I mean? It sounds good. The quality's there. Not to say the quality's there for all the artists, but these guys have just been like, here's something new almost every day.
It's like you're seeing improvement.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of growth within them. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, especially Cruz for his age. He's so young. You know what I mean? He's 18.
Young bull.
But he is like a lyrical machine. Like, you
Fire.
could give him any beat and I promise you'll have a song back in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fire.
It's insanity. You know what I mean? And then KC has his sounds. He could do upbeat, somber, mellow. You know, there's all these different sounds. I love the
He's
mellow
really good
stuff.
at mellow.
And then Hayden, you know, he's a producer, engineer, and artist. So he creates just
the
entire project, and it sounds great. You know what I mean? But
how many producers do you have a part of Stardom?
I'd probably say around 7.
Really cool. Yeah, that's dope.
Yep, globally.
And what, they like send beats every now and then to like
yeah,
chat?
Yeah,
and be like, yo, what's up?
I get beat packs like probably every other day.
Cool.
You know, and they consist of like 20 to 23 beats per. So it's a lot. They put in the producers. Oh my God, they are, my phone and my computer can't handle the amount. I have to get hard drives for it. You know,
they're wizards, man. They're wizards. So that's Stardom. Before we move on from Stardom, is there anything you want to add to that before we move forward?
It's just going to be a big year, man, for all the artists. You know what I mean? Never mind me, put me aside. All of them, they're going to prosper even more than they did in the last 12 months. And I'm proud of them all. I really, really am, you know?
Well, I like the identity, bro. I like how you built it up. It's continuing to grow, and it's grown at such a rapid rate. And, you know, with you at the helm and the people behind you, a team of 64 people, I'm having a hard time running a team of 4.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? Like,
luckily, a lot of the people are older than me, though. So, like, our legal team, like our attorneys and stuff, are like 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
You know? So
this
it's
ain't
like
their first rodeo.
We have, exactly. So it's like, and then our creative team, like, they have their own team within a team, and we made them a part of ours. So these certain aspects run themselves. You know what I mean? So that's another way to kind of keep it organized, is like, if they have their own teams on top of this team, we're good, you know?
So the first time we had the podcast, we were talking about Black Heart's apparel. And you told me that it was kind of underwater at that time.
Yeah.
Nothing was really moving with it. But to start off this year, you have relaunched the website. You have dropped a lot of options for clothing. What's going on, man? Talk to me about Black Heart's apparel. Talk to me about the beginning of it, because I really don't know the name, the thesis, why it started that way, because it wasn't a thing.
Absolutely. So in high school, it was around freshman, sophomore year, me and my buddy Speaks, Justin Speaks, shout out you, bro. We had the idea of making clothing brands, and his was Genuine Drip, mine was Black Heart Art Apparel. And we tried. It did not work. We were young. We didn't have the resources or money to do it. But I really, really wanted it. Like, that was the idea before I even made music. So it was like, this is something that has to come back eventually. And it's been years. Like, oh my God, I don't know. It went underwater 4 or 5 years ago. So, I'm thinking like 2 months ago, and I started thinking about that, and I'm looking back in time, and I'm like, man, I really wish I could have made that happen. Then it clicks in my head, wait, you could make that happen now. So I just immediately made some calls, got some designs made, and we just started going in. You know what I mean? New logo, new Instagram page, new website, new designs, totally different from what we originally had in high school, because honestly, they were shitty. And, you know, it was done in probably like 3 weeks. We were able to produce everything, get the distributor a part of it, agree on everything, you know, and then I planned on doing it. That was my first move of the new year. Like, that was a callback to like young me. It's like, okay, now you can make shit happen, and it's a part of who I am. You know what I mean? Because that's where all this started. Like, I've really wanted a clothing brand.
How did that make you feel, being able to do it now? You know, think about that. At one point, you weren't able to do it.
No, not at all.
You know, we're small fries.
That's true.
You know,
kind of surreal moment, because like, there's things that happen still that even surprise me, and I'm like, I can't believe we're able to do this, or this is happening. Because when I was in high school, I didn't think any of it was possible. So it's kind of like I keep showing myself like, hey, like, you're growing, you're prospering, you're making the dream real. And the clothing brand was huge because, like, I was with Speaks and my boy Rich every single day in high school. Like, that was my two guys. And just the plans we had together, astronomical plans, and somehow have found a way to attack them all, you know, but back then we couldn't do it. So it was very disheartening back then. So, but now it's not because we're making it happen, you know?
So clothing drops, right?
Yes.
What's your plan with the clothing drops? Are they going to be...
So I want to do large scale drops. Like, I don't want them to be like, oh, here's 2-3 pieces. Like, I want like 10 pieces in each, like 10 to 12 pieces, like as you saw with the first drop. And I think I'm going to do that once every 6 months. I think, you know what I mean? We're going to restock the inventory a couple times and then just every 6 months change it up. You know what I mean? We're selling a lot of the new Blackheart drop. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to restock the inventory probably soon.
I got to cop out.
What's up?
I got to cop out.
Absolutely.
You got to cop out.
You got to look through. Let me know.
I will. You know, you showed me some of the designs, bro.
Yes,
even before they were finalized.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's sick. That's dope. That's sick. Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, you know, so probably once every 6 months, if not longer, and then we'll see where it goes with the drop schedule. You know, maybe I'll drop exclusive pieces here and there. It all depends on what the team thinks and what
Sorry, my apologies.
It happens. I saw you going like that. I was like,
who's he fighting right now?
But yeah, that is the plan with the clothing brand.
Awesome, man. Congratulations on getting the clothing brand going. You know, I've talked to you about trying to get merch for the Middleman Podcast.
Yes, sir.
You steered me in the right way, and then I ran out of gas. Okay, it happens.
It happens.
So, but I'm looking forward to actually making it happen this year, man, because, you know, we talk about connections. You talk about the connections you obtain, and I look at you as a great connection for me because, one, if I need a podcast guest, let me talk to some of your artists, right?
Absolutely.
Two, just because of the mentality and the mindset that you have, and you've been through the merch options, you've been through the website option, you've been through the LLC option. You know, you and I have had conversations off the camera about how do I make this more legit? All right, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, we got to do that. All right, cool, let's get it done. You know, and I do appreciate that. Just input and your feedback
always
on certain things, because, you know, just trying to grow and having someone who's done it before try to give you a route is beneficial, you know. So I thank you for that, bro. And at this time, we're gonna break away from the conversation real quick. We're gonna get into tea time, knock this out real quick. So welcome to Tea Time, everyone, the first tea time of 2025, not brought to you by but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. I got my casual black and white. Mr. Methadonix, what are you rocking with over there?
I got the fruit punch, you know, the classic.
And here we go. Michael, did you write your question?
I've been thinking this entire time for a good question.
I can see you, bro. I've been staring at your eyes, and you're locked in.
Yeah.
Methadonix, I'm going to have you pick the question. We are running low on questions here, so I do need to restock. My people, where are your questions at? Come on. Come on.
Bring them in.
Just bring them in. It's a simple thing on Instagram. Just DM me. Once, twice, maybe 3 times. Whatever you want. Here we go. Tea Time. Not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. Maybe this year we get the sponsorship, or we go to a different brand. Who knows? But we get some sponsorships this year.
Very true.
Oh, my God. Is that the one? That's the one from today. Let me get that.
Is it? Okay.
That's the one from today.
I got you.
My handwriting is terrible, so I'd rather...
It's all right.
All right. That is the one from today.
Really?
On God.
Okay.
On God. All right, ready? The question is, if you could end world hunger but get no credit for it, would you do it? Or would you rather get direct deposit of $25K? What are you choosing? And that is from Camo Lou.
25,000?
Yeah, $25K.
I'm not considering the money. I just wanted to make sure I had it.
He's like, I hear that right? $25K?
I mean, obviously, end world hunger. I feel like that's way more beneficial.
We don't need the credit, right?
Yeah,
we don't need the credit.
And I mean, that's way more beneficial, I feel, in the long run than $25K.
But
25K could go like that.
If you could end world hunger with building the $25K, that's the thing, right? So you have the 20. Michael has something to say. I want to see what he has to say. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell him to bring my money.
Yo.
Oh, Michael said, I won the lottery.
He said, tell him, bring me that 25K right now.
The not getting credit is interesting. That's the interesting spin on the whole ending world hunger thing.
Yeah.
But then again, you gotta, if you're ending world hunger, it's all about the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's about morals.
Yeah, I'm not looking about me at the end of the day.
You know what I mean?
It's more so just, yeah. what it is. So.
And like you said, 25K like goes away. That's
like you could spend that in a week if you really tried. You know what I mean? So, nah.
Now, if you could take the 25K and invest it and make millions off of it, and in the process end world hunger and still receive the credit.
Well, that's too good to be true.
That's where I'm like,
I'd be on board for that option. You know what I mean? Definitely. Yeah. But yeah, no, fuck the 25K.
We'll pull one more just because I feel like, and I said this to Camo already. I said I feel like that's a question that on camera people are gonna say this, and off camera people are gonna say this. And yes, the cameras sometimes do make a difference. One quick question here, unless Michael's finally thought of the question that he's been dwelling on over there since 2024. All right, real quick. Last one, and then we'll move on from tea time. This is nice handwriting. It's definitely not mine. Oh, this is a good one. This is good. This is great. Okay. And I think this is good for you.
Gotcha.
If a movie were made about you, who would you want to play as you?
Oh my God. Wait,
who is your celebrity lookalike, bro? Who do you think will do a great job at playing the Methadonix lifestyle?
A lot of people are older than me that, like, I'm their lookalike, I feel. So it's like, I don't know. People have said, you know, the one dude from All American, plays Coach Baker's son. I can't think of his name.
No, I don't. But
they say he looks like me, and I think like there are some similarities there. But I mean, if anything, I would just have my brother do it.
Okay.
You know, if he could, we'd put him in acting classes, and boom.
It's not that hard, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's like
people
the
like,
best
dude, I'm
option.
his brother. If there's anyone qualified for it,
it's me.
R.I.P. Paul Walker, but his brother took the role. You know,
literally, I feel like because I don't know, that just would make the most sense, and I feel like my brother would play a good me. You know what I mean? So shout out Zay, love you, bro.
I don't think I could rely on my brothers to play a good me.
Right?
I don't think for real. Michael's shaking his head. He's like, nah, they can't do it. They can't do it, dude. Because there's no one like me. Whoa, hold on, chill out.
Tell them how it is.
Who would I have play me? You know what? Just because we need the gap to be identical, let me get Michael Strahan up in that bitch. Playing as Kevin Martinez, the Middleman Podcast documentary film about me. And with that being said, everyone, that was tea time.
That was tea time.
Yo,
That's
that
insane. What a way to end it. Michael Strahan. Oh, my God. Wow.
Well, good morning, America. Wow, I am terrible.
Wow.
Beep.
Censor that.
Done.
Censor that.
If you have a lisp, it's okay. It's not your fault, bro. It's not your fault. I got a gap. I can't say the word batteries right.
You just said it right.
I know.
We're gonna.
There's words that I can't say, right?
No, that's understandable.
I'm sure there's a few. I'm getting out of pocket, bro. 2025, we coming in hot.
Unhinged Kev.
All right. Back to the podcast, back to the show.
Yes, sir.
And let's talk about some of the biggest shows that we've put on this year. You and I as a team with Steez and Drew.
Yes, sir.
From 570 Exotics. And I really want to just, Atmosfere Music Festival. Okay. Atmosfere Music Festival, where we had you headlining the show. The process. I often talk about my experience with it, man, but let's talk about your experience, what you were going through in the planning process, building your set list, attire, being a headliner, you do get certain things, so talk to me about things like that.
I was scared because it was new, but that wasn't going to stop us. And obviously our nerves, and it was all high. Everything was amped. You know what I mean?
My nerves were.
Yeah, it was very fast paced, especially since we had 3 months to get it done. But I enjoyed every second of it because it was new and exciting, and we were doing something for the community. I had a great time. On my end, there was some obviously my road team needed a contract, sign the contract, and he has to have a dressing room. This, that, that. You know what I mean? Like a diva. Like a diva.
Fucking pop star, I'll tell you.
And then, it was just fun, going there and rehearsing and planning it with you guys, what ideas we brought in, what ideas we threw out. I'm honestly very proud of all of us, and I wouldn't rather do this with anybody else, and I truly mean that. We have created something astronomically large. And whether people see that yet or don't, it's there. that's the centerpiece, is that we are creating the foundation for what's to come in the future. And it's so big, and so many people are excited for the next one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited for the next one. And, you know, there was obviously a lot of pressure, like headlining and stuff, because it was like, okay, I got to follow up all these amazing acts, and I got to send these people home happy. You know what I mean? I think I did a good job, minus the hiccups we had at the end. The files got corrupted. If you weren't there, didn't see that. But we got to thank them, and we got to bring the artists on. That was like the best part for me.
That was dope.
Because in that moment, we were up there with everybody who had made this happen. And like, even though it was over, it was like, wow, like we did this. You know what I mean? Best feeling in the world, and I know you know that. You know, but it was stressful, happy, sad at times. You know, like emotions were everywhere with it. But I think that made it exciting.
The night before, how did you get ready?
I couldn't sleep the night before. So usually I don't have a hard time sleeping. And it was like a kid like waiting for Santa to drop the presents off, you know, in the morning. Like that's what the feeling was. I could not sleep, but I knew I had to because we had a long, long day ahead of us.
Super long.
But I kind of just like, you know, I talked to some of my buddies, talked to my family a little bit, and tried to breathe, and the nerves went away until 20 minutes before I went on the stage. And then it was like, oh yeah, they all came back, but you just shake them out, go out, and fucking make it happen.
Did you write anything to yourself before? No, nothing like that?
I was just having like a mental battle. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, I thought about my dad a lot. That's usually what I do. Before I perform, I talk to my dad and my grandma, and that's what I did. And I was kind of just like, all right, this is like what we've worked for, you know, because my dad, when I first started, was like my biggest supporter. You know, if your grades are good, I'll buy you studio time. I don't forget. But that's what I do, you know, like everything from that point, because he was one of the first people I told I wanted to make music. And that's why I referenced what he just said to me. He was like, if your grades are good, I'll buy you studio time, because that's what it was at the beginning. And
that's love, bro. That's some real shit right
absolutely.
there, man.
And you know, I kept my grades good.
Yep.
You know, and keeping my grades good and my dad helping me out really paid off, because like now, like look at the road is insane. I looked back the other day, just like took an hour, and I finally, and I preached that to everybody, like take time, and I finally did it myself the other day. I was just amazed. I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like it's the things we've done since I started doing music is absolutely insane. And that's the only way for me to put it. Like it's like almost unreal and doesn't feel like real life. But it is, and that's the best part.
Well, before you got on stage, your graphic team, your production team, they created a time lapse. Well, not time lapse, but it was just we'll say time lapse.
That's probably a good
beginning to like current.
Yeah.
Of your career, and you know it was very suspenseful.
Yeah.
With the clock ticking, you know, before it strikes midnight. And yeah, man, that right there just gave you chills to see. You know?
Like in person, because I had seen it before it went up, but like I cried when they made it. Obviously, like that was a personal moment for me. And then I saw it like on the stage, and like I'm watching it from behind the curtain because I could see the screen, you know, and I'm like, wow, like this is like crazy, you know, and like we're about to make another moment is what was going through my head. Like, there's no footage of this moment yet. This moment hasn't happened yet. Like all of those did, but we're about to go create another one.
Yep. That's
like unreal to think about. Like in that moment, I just looked at all those moments and we were seconds away from making another one. That's badass. You know what I mean? And that was like what I took away from seeing it in person, was like, we're about to go create another one. And that's fucking awesome.
It was wicked, bro.
That was
that
amazing.
Night, you know, talking about the nerves and everything like that, you know, I remember when we first got in there, you know, Zach was recording, and there's a moment in the vlog where it's like, how you feeling, bro? You doing all right? You doing all right? I'm like, how'd you sleep last night? You know?
Yeah.
And
I recall that.
You just look at me, you say, yo, can I give you a hug? And I was like, yeah, bro, for sure. You know? And I was like, how'd you sleep last night? You were like, I had trouble sleeping. I was like, yeah, a bottle of whiskey helped me out, you know, like whatever.
Wow, I remember that vividly.
Yeah, but that right there, like, dude, you could just see, first of all, the nerves that you have and the nerves that I have, because if people know how I am, but I'm just trying to be like real nonchalant about shit. I'm probably freaking out.
No, likewise.
I'm probably freaking out.
It was, I had a pit in my stomach all day.
A little ha ha ha.
Because like I'm looking on the stage and I'm looking out, and like we were having fun in the beginning. Like we were all like listening to music. Dap had it going. You know what I mean? Like all the artists were there. It was a really good time. But I think once that went down and we got to the back, it was like, okay, fuck. Like this is real. Like we have like 6 hours until this show starts, and we need to be mentally ready to go out there and perform the best we ever have. All of us collectively. And honestly, I think we all did. I truly believe that everybody who went on that stage performed like it was the last time they were going to be on that stage. Mm-hmm. And it was great. It was great to see.
It was phenomenal, bro. Like, I was just thinking about it. It's like we were wired. We were just wired that day. It was just like, all right, next task.
Ball kept rolling
next task.
All through the day.
You know, and then once we got that shit started, bro, it was awesome. It was such a fantastic time.
Yeah.
In the back, you know, I had walked back there a few times, bro, just to tap in, say what's up to everyone, you know, while other artists were performing. And, yeah, you were going through some mental breakdowns back there, you know, just mental. I wouldn't say breakdown, but like a mental challenge, you know, because you were having a migraine of your life.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that migraine was like, I haven't had that bad of a migraine since that night. And I think the stress added on to it, and that's why it was so bad. But I went on the stage and I performed with a migraine, but it like, because of my adrenaline, I couldn't feel it on the stage until I got off the stage and like felt concussed damn near. But still, you know, like those nerves in the back, like I think I was battling myself because like I still go through these things where like I'm always like looking back on my life and like things I've done. And like in that moment, like I didn't feel like Methadonix. I felt like just Kelly.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were going through.
That's what it felt like. And I was like, no, like I just felt weird. I was like, and I've never experienced something like that until I went to Philly a couple of weeks ago and it happened because I was like watching YouTube videos to kind of like prep for like upcoming things. And I was like, that's not me. Like, it's weird. Like, it's weird as shit. It's the weirdest thing ever. I love what I do, absolutely. But, like, in those moments, like, it just doesn't, like, I was sitting back there and I didn't feel like Methadonix. Like I said, I felt like Kelly Parton. You know what I mean? And, like, not to say that's a bad thing, but, like, that wasn't the time for that. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be, like, on point in character, get ready to go have the show of your life. But, like, I think because the reality set in, I was, like, I felt like a little kid again. And I was like, no, like, I don't feel like because it doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? Like, there's no other way for me to put it, but like, even me talking about it now is making me feel like, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I remember exactly how I felt in that moment. It's like, wow, like, I didn't feel like me, even though it's me. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. But imposter syndrome, that's what it is.
Bro. It was extremely weird. It was one hell of a night, and now that we have it under our belts, bro, I'm ready to do it again.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm ready to do it to... You know, you said you looked and you were like, that's not me. And I can honestly say that I was there, but part of me wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because of other shit that was going on. And now, though, I'm like, yeah, I could really be myself because when after Atmosfere happened, you know, I went through some shit and then we like started hanging out a little bit more. Like a month goes by. Month and a half, I'm starting to get myself back. I'm starting to get back in a groove. And I remember being in a studio with you, Steez, and a few other people there as well. And I just remember just like cracking joke after joke after joke after joke.
I recall that day.
And then I remember saying to you, I'm like, dude, I'm on fire right now.
You did. You looked at
and
me
I was like,
that.
I think I'm finally getting back to how I am.
That's what I noticed.
How I should be.
I would say I definitely noticed the changes then. Because you were just like back to like Kev. You know what I mean?
Sad boy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we all go through sad boys sometimes. Like I've been a sad boy probably like 20 sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that day I definitely noticed like the changes. You were reverting back to your roots. And I appreciated that, you know, like I was proud of you for that because that was like relatively quick, you know, like you were able to bounce back, rubber band, you know what I'm saying? So proud of you, dog.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, I'm excited to do it again, bro. Like, cause I'm an energy, bro. I'm a dancer. I want to get on that stage, bro. I'm telling you, these artists, bro, like y'all not ready, bro. If you got me turning up, I'm going out there and I'm jumping with you, bro. Because there's no reason why we didn't do that the first go around, and we should have done that the first go around.
Hey, listen.
But you live, you learn, and you progress.
Exactly.
That's how you do it. So let's talk about some of the projects that you released this year.
Sure.
let's talk about Rax again. You know, that song has actually gotten a blog written about it.
Yeah.
By an extremely notable blog company, Genius. If you don't know, now you know.
You know, shout out Genius.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Let's talk about Rax again because there was the original track, then it got extended.
Yeah.
You know, so original track, Rax again.
Yes.
Came out. The response from the people.
Oh, ridiculous. Like, it was like, I just did the song because I was like, okay, it has a catchy hook. I'm going to write it for fun. You know what I mean? We're going to put it out. Like, I just wanted to do another upbeat, fun song, you know, rather than be in my emotions all the time. Because sometimes I got to get out of that bag. But we released a song, and it just went haywire. Like, immediately. Like, absolutely haywire. And I didn't expect that. Like, I thought it was catchy. I thought it was good. But then I have, like, all these people calling me, blogs being written about it. There's posts. It's posted everywhere. There's another blog written about it. Then I'm like, okay, now we got to do a video. So I call you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that. And I actually spitballed an idea to you.
Absolutely,
and it came out as it did.
It did. But that song took a life of its own. That was like even all the way until like it went right back into my top 2 yesterday. Like I released a song a year ago, damn. You know what I mean? So it's like it's still circulating, people still love it. Like nobody that I know that has brought this song to me has said it's bad. They've just shown me how much they've played it. There's been people like I was on people's replays all for Spotify and Apple Music. Someone listened to it for like I think it was like 11 hours.
Damn.
Of a 2-minute song. I was like, oh, wow, you guys really like this song.
They probably fell asleep to it too, you know?
Had to. But, and then we do the remix, you know, in November. So recently with Contridium Corday, that was fun. You know, I had posted a recap video from Atmosfere because I like to keep those circulating. And the song was playing behind it. He swiped up to my story. He goes, send me this. And I was like, all right. So then we had the remix done in a night, not even, you know. So I sent him the beat, and I sent him or the instrumental. I'm sorry, I don't necessarily like the word beat, but I sent him the instrumental and then my track. So we extended it. He threw a verse on there, mixed it, mastered it, sent it back. It was out in a week.
Yeah, and I came across the remix through my Spotify playlist. You know, they just throw songs every now and then.
Yeah,
and that came on, and then. Corday, you cooked that. You cooked that, bro. When the beat stopped and you thought I was finished. That shit was crazy, bro.
Yeah, that
shit
was
crazy.
Wild. I heard that when I was in the car and he sent it back to me and I played that. I was like, nah, this is ridiculous. Oh my God, I had such a good time with Rax again overall. From the original to the remix to the music video to the lyric video. Like, all of the pieces blend so well together. That it just became like one of my biggest tracks. And I needed a new one because remember Bruce Banner?
Yeah, Bruce Banner.
I was long over that. So I needed a new one. And Rax again is kind of become the new Bruce Banner. But
Good.
you know, but I still enjoy the song.
Until you don't.
Yeah, that'll happen.
One day it'll happen.
Probably.
No,
soon.
I do like Rax again. And then you release a project Too Much Too Soon. At first, I believe it was a 4 or 5 track EP.
Yeah. It was 5 tracks.
5-track EP.
Yep.
And then you decided to make it a deluxe. Now, was that already something you had planned on? No. Okay. So, what happened?
So after Atmosfere, I genuinely was like just feeling extremely creative. And
a lot of people did.
Right? And I saw someone texted me and they were like, too much too soon. I don't remember in reference to what. And I was like, I like the way that sounds.
Might have been me.
It could have been.
Because, yeah.
I think it might have been, actually, because I kind of recall that. But I remember looking at the text and I was like, I like the way that sounds. So then I was like, I sent it to my design team. I'm like, draw something. Like, just draw me like a logo, right? So then they come up with this idea to make it like super retro themed on a TV screen with the words in the back. They send it to me. I go, I have every single song already done for this. And we put them together.
So it was just another example of having these songs done.
Yeah, 100%.
So you didn't have to get in the studio. Maybe you re-recorded.
I think I was in there
them?
once to kind of go over like a couple of them just to backtrack a little bit, but they were already done prior.
Wow.
Like, these songs had been recorded. Yeah, the deluxe was 5 songs, and the album was 10 songs, I think, possibly.
I can find out for you right now.
Yeah, double. I don't remember if it was 8 or 10. I remember it being both for some weird reason.
10.
10. Okay, so yeah, we already had those 10 songs in the vault, and I was able to formulate a story with the songs that none of those songs were supposed to go together. They were all recorded at different times.
They kind of went together.
That's why. You pick from your catalog, you put them together, you get them mixed and mastered, send them out, And the album was just like the aesthetic, like the marketing we did for it. I really, really enjoyed that.
What is one of your favorite tracks on that album?
Okay, so Demon Girl, my verse on that is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, and I don't say that about a lot of my, I don't have a big head.
You don't boast.
Know what I mean? I don't like
boast.
to do that, brag or boast. But my verse on that is super, super good. You know what I mean? Like, just the creativity behind it, the rhythm, the patterns I'd use, the rhyme scheme, it's all there. Don't remember writing it, but I did, obviously, and that's my favorite verse. But my favorite song is One Phone Call.
One Phone Call.
Yeah.
Okay, and the public. What has the public received as one of their personal favorites?
Wasted.
Okay,
That's probably my third favorite.
I'm with that one.
Wasted, One Phone Call, Demon Girl. So the same ones as me. And then they really, really like Light Up the Room.
Light up the room. That's
I would actually take Light Up the Room and put that in front of all those songs for the public, because they really, really like that song.
The feature, Becky.
Yeah.
Is she a part of Stardom?
She is not. She's actually an artist that I've been working with for about 2 years now. Met her through an email conversation, actually. So she had sent me the song on that album over now. This is 2 years ago. That was sitting in my vault for a while. We record it. She goes, "It's yours. Do what you please with it." Sends me another one, Light Up the Room. This is like a month or two before Too Much Too Soon comes out. So we just put both of them on the album. We were like, you know what? Might as well. They both sound good. Having you on 2 songs. First of all, I love working with female artists.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. My respect for females in general is just very, very high. So when I get to work with female artists, it's amazing, because I get to see a whole different side of creativity. She gives me those records. I'm like, these are fucking awesome. You know what I mean? So what I did was I just I wrote small verses, kind of tied into the story she was telling, and then it fit the album. That's how that panned out.
I'm a big fan of that song.
Yeah.
That one might be one of my personal favorites.
Awesome.
It's really, really good. Is Wasted the one that kind of sounds like The Weeknd would be on it?
Yeah. That's Von Blondie, an artist I work with closely. Shout out Von. He could rap, sing, he could do it all. Like, I've sent him an entire song before, right? He'll have that shit back to me in 15 minutes. And I'm like, whoa. Like, what are you doing? And I'm talking like, he raps like Jadakiss. Like, his punchlines, his rhyme schemes, his flow, and his storytelling, it's ridiculous for having songs done in 15 minutes. I'll send him any beat, he'll have it back to me. Kind of like Cruz. You know what I mean? So, shout out Von. He could sing as well. Learned that on Wasted. Did not know. And I'm like, wow, he sounds like if Tory Lane's in The Weeknd, like,
Yeah.
had a baby. You know what I mean? But it sounded great. It's one of my favorite songs. My verse on that's really good. Shout out D-Mines. His was really good. I had a good time,
Let's talk about what you're implementing experimental, where you are releasing tracks that are released for 24 hours.
Yes.
And if you catch it, you catch it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What do you got going on there?
So I just love to give back to like the community who's made this possible for me. And I had the idea of, there's a platform called Untitled that I learned about through one of my artists a couple months ago. Did not know how to utilize it at first, but I learned. And I had the idea of releasing exclusive records that I have in the vault that don't have plans, and giving them to the listeners who are really, really tapped in. So if they catch in that 24 hours, they're going to be like, oh my God, like, I got to hear, and they get to download it. So you get to listen to it and download it in those 24 hours.
And then once it's downloaded, you have it, but then once it's gone.
Yeah. And if that's, obviously if anybody sent it anywhere, I wouldn't be upset with that, But, once that 24-hour period is gone, you can't hear the song again unless you listen to it or downloaded it. So it's exclusive. You know what I mean? It's something different. I feel like not a lot of people have done that or are doing that.
Never heard
So
of it.
just another example of me trying to set myself, to a higher standard or set myself outside the box.
I've never heard of that program, that platform.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, it kind of sounds like a Patreon for artists but you don't receive any benefit from it.
Yeah.
You just receive the exposure, the public affection for that track and for that sound, so that's really cool. And so the one day you and I were sitting here, and I was like, I got a question for you. And I was like, no, I'm going to save it for the podcast. And then I wrote it on my phone. And I think it's that time, bro.
All right.
You know what I wanted to ask you, bro? I wanted to ask you, are there any plans for you to go on tour? What's on the future mindset, bro? Because, I mean, like, I feel as if you have the attributes to do it.
Yeah.
Why haven't you done it? Are there plans to?
There is a plan to. It's all about. So, okay, I'll start from the beginning where the idea stemmed from. I'm in Philly a lot. My actual top city out of the whole world is Philadelphia, who listens to my music. Every year. Every single year it's Philadelphia.
Interesting.
So I have a very large following out there, So my cousin, Helena, she was like, why don't you do... I was out there visiting her. We were walking down the street. She was like, why don't you do a theater tour of, like, the tri-state? And I was like, I like that, and I'm going to tell you why I like that. Theaters are a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
They're more intimate. You know what I mean? You get to connect with the audience more. I appreciate that. And with my top cities being the tri-state, I could do that. You know what I mean? So I've brought it up to my team. It would probably be something within the next year or two, depending on what venues, the budgets, how much travel time I'm going to need for this, how many shows there's going to be, forming the set list, making it a show. It's a lot goes into it, but don't take it off the table because it's definitely on the table and you're going to be at those shows. So,
appreciate it.
Are
you ready for that?
Yeah.
Do you think you're ready up here mentally?
Definitely.
Yeah? Okay.
Physically, I don't know because my body.
Your lungs are awful, bro.
Yeah, and mentally, my lungs are awful, my knees are bad, I have a bad back, my body is falling apart, but I'm healthy at the same time.
4 years younger than me, bro. It's unbelievable.
Insane. But with the touring, it's just something that I would have to get mentally right because I get tired a lot. That's a physical and mental problem. So it's one of those things where how do I prepare for this? How do I do this? But I figured that out. You know what I mean? Obviously, I could take better care of myself, and if I had to do that, which I do have to do that. But if I was you're going on tour in 6 months, you got to be ready. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? And so I think I am ready. I would have fun. I would have a great time doing that. So if my team could formulate it, which I hope you guys can, because they've been working on it for a couple months now, not to spoil anything, but no dates available obviously yet. I'm going to do it. It seems like a very fun thing to do. And it's very I want to connect with my fans on a global radar, even if it is just the tri-state for a theater tour. I would like that more.
I think that is the next step for you.
Definitely.
In my opinion.
Definitely.
I think that is the next step for you to move forward and grow, I mean, think about it, dude. I mean, you have the openers already working with you, and then you just have to close out the show. So I definitely think that's feasible. I want to see you aim for that and shoot for that because that is a goal that is massive,
100%.
To be able to go on tour and, to be able to sell tickets to get people to come to the show, that'll really show a lot of the input and everything that you worked for, the show. And
Definitely.
then, you'll record that first few shows.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it again maybe in a year or two.
Exactly.
And then now hopefully the crowd is double or triple the size, and you might have to do one city twice because the tickets already sold out.
You're right.
So.
You're right, back-to-back nights. And I wouldn't be opposed to that. And that was a really good question. I'm glad I waited for that.
I told you, I'm trying to. I was like, it's a question that it's got to push you forward, bro.
Absolutely.
It's
and it is in the cards. There's
a lot of what's next for you, but what's the biggest leap? And I think that's the biggest leap.
I would say that one, especially because that conversation between me and my cousin was about a year ago. So,
Cuzzo?
Helena cousin.
Oh,
so many cousins.
Yeah.
But once I brought it to my team, and I was like, I think this is something I want to do. They were like, well, they threw me 2 dates. They said this year. I said no.
Mm-hmm.
I said 2026. I was like,
Even
I want
numbers are
to
better.
aim for 2026. Probably it would be like from March to June
Mm-hmm.
if I was to do it. So that's like a rough idea of what we have on the drawing board right now. So if we can make it happen, well, we're going on tour, boys. You know what I mean?
That'd be legendary, bro. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to what's going to be happening for you in 2025. We're looking forward to Atmosfere 2025.
Yes, sir.
But we're about to wrap up the show here. Before we get off the air, if there's anything that we've missed that you want to shout out so that people know to keep an eye out for it, the floor is yours. Leave them with a message. You know how we do.
You know, I just want to say I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of Kevin, Steez, Drew, my personal team, Stardom artists. I'm thankful for all of you guys who make this life possible for me, because I would have never thought that any of this. We're talking about going on tour. We're putting together music festivals, relaunching clothing brands. Like, that's not normal. So thank you guys. I love and support you. I don't love and support. I do support you, but y'all support me is what I really meant to say there. And I appreciate that. So thank you guys. And I'm going to leave it at that. I love and support you.
You're great, bro.
Hey, listen, man.
So I love and support you. No, I don't support. I do support you.
That's going to be a funny
Support.
Listen, support all around the board.
Hey, and with that being said, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the first episode recorded in 2025. It's going to be another phenomenal year here for us at the Middleman Podcast. I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, signing out.